before you start, do you mind, Shani, I think you wanted to, yeah, there you go. So the topic tonight is called The Mother of All Secrets of Success. And to share a little bit about myself and how I got to be here, for about 28 years, I've been researching and training in 14 different disciplines in search of and to master the secrets of fulfillment and success. And I got my bachelor's degree from UCLA in communications. I have an MBA from Pepperdine. I'm a certified mediator from the law school at Pepperdine University. I'm also a master certified results coach, master practitioner of neurolinguistic programming, and a lot of other things. As Shani very kindly mentioned, I was a radio talk show host and executive producer for about 10 years on KRSI and 670 AM, where I had the opportunity to reach hundreds of thousands of people and interview leading world experts like Dr. Deepak Chopra, Dr. John Gray, Dr. Brian Weiss, Marianne Williamson, Carolyn Mace, amazing people. And I also coach people on air. And in 2002, I started our organization, which is called Dreamality Education and Coaching. And the word Dreamality is a combination of two other words. I'm just going to let you know now, sometimes I do accents. I'm an equal opportunity accent creator. I love all people, but it just comes out. So I'm just letting you know now. So if you're thinking, what is this word called Dreamality? I do not know it, right? It's a combination of two other words, which is dream and reality. And we educate you and coach you how to take your dreams and potential and make them into reality. And I've had the opportunity to create some of the most cutting edge techniques in the world called precision transformation technology, very precise steps for transformation. Also revolutionary techniques called emotional transformation. So not just how to change our emotions, how to manage them, but literally how to transform them, get rid of negative and be in positive states of being. And since 2002, we've had the honor of supporting thousands of people through our seminars and through our personal coaching, really take quantum leaps forward in their fulfillment, success, results, etc. And my wife is here, by the way, that's Nicole. She has the same last name as me. We were married since 2001, happily married. We have 4 children, and I'm happy to be living the life of my dreams, and I'm happy to share with others how they also can do the same thing. So in your own way, whatever you're seeking. So that's a very brief summary of what we do. Let's move forward into the process of tonight. I wanted to share with you a very important concept. And first, I'm going to establish some of the foundation for it before I get into the solutions. So imagine the following. Imagine you go to a store and you want to drink water. And you truly believe the only way you can drink water is from this store, right? And how would you feel? Think about that. They tell you there's no other place in the world you can drink water. This is the only way you can drink water. How would you feel? Shadi, I do things interactively. I know you guys maybe are not used to it. If people want to interact, it's actually just the way I do the seminars. Do you mind letting people answer? Is that okay? Would that be all right with you? Yeah? Okay. So who would like to share? How would you feel if you thought this is the only way you can drink water? Shani, should I call people or do you want to do that? You're muted, so I'm not hearing you.
They can raise their hand if they want to answer, or you can just call on them. Don't ask questions on me.
All right. So Aqua Derm Med, I don't know what your name is. What do you think? How would you feel if the only way you could drink water was that?
Hi, my name is Daria. Nice to meet you. I am actually, I'm only drinking Kangen water. So it's tough because I only have the machine at the office. I keep going home when I run out of my tanks of water because I drink like a fish. But that's what I've been doing for the past 2-3 years.
So imagine there's somewhere they have Kanga and there's no other water in the world but Kanga. Kanga or Kanga? Is it K or
Kangen?
Kangen. Okay. So imagine there's only one way you can drink water and there's someone controlling it and they decide whether they want to give you water or not. And they say, you know what? We don't like you. We don't want to give you water this month. So how would you feel?
Terrible. I would die with that water. So I've got to start drinking something else.
Okay. So terrible. Someone said helpless. I see Farron said helpless. You're welcome to put it in the chat too. That's a good idea. So helpless, what other emotions would you have? Really think about it. There's only one way you can drink water.
Dehydrated.
Dehydrated. So that's a physical state. Emotionally, how would you
Very
feel?
limited.
Very limited. I hear anxiety.
Angry.
Angry.
Yes.
Right? sad, frustrated. Some people have said I get violent. Frustrated. Okay, good. So limited, right? So think about some of the emotions that you just expressed and leave them to the side. And stressed. So imagine, in reality though, does water really come from just one store? Where does the water, imagine that store actually gets their water from the faucet. Let's say they filter it, put it in a bottle and give it to you. Where does the water really come from? Right? Where? Who wants to answer that? Where does the water really come from?
From nature.
From nature. So let's say a reservoir, and the reservoir gets it from a lake, let's say. And where does the lake get its water from?
Snow melting.
Rain.
From where, Safa?
Snow melting,
From
coming
snow
down.
melting, rain. And where does the snow and rain get their water from?
From the clouds.
Clouds. And where do the clouds get their water?
Back from the lakes. From the
Let's
sea.
say the ecosystem. Or where does the ecosystem come from?
The sea evaporated the water and goes to
Right. So
become.
let's say that's the whole
From universe.
from, let's say, Earth. And where does the Earth come from?
From universe.
Universe. And where does the universe come from?
Universe is the ultimate thing.
river.
So we're going to call it an infinite source. Some say God, Farron says God. We're going to call it an infinite source. So there's an infinite source. Some people call it universe or God or the creator or the oneness, whatever term you want to use. If you go back enough to original cause, there's something called, we're going to call it infinite source, right? So from this infinite source, the infinite source uses its channels. And this is a very important word, channels. So the earth and the lake and the reservoir and the store are different channels that the infinite source uses all the way down to you to give you water. So the store is not the source of water, it's a channel for water. What is the word, everyone? Channel. If you don't mind saying that, channel. Channel. So the store is a channel for water, it's not the source. And that's a very important distinction, because sometimes as human beings, we confuse the channel for the source. We think the store is the source, and that's where a lot of our suffering actually occurs. So let's go ahead and talk about 3 stages of development. And I'm going to share screen with you here. Excuse me. That's not from COVID. It's just a little dryness.
It's okay. We're safe. You're away from us.
Yeah, nowadays, if you sneeze and cough, they're like, oh, COVID, COVID, right? Why are you sneezing? All right. So the first stage is called dependency. In all our development. So what is dependency? Excuse me 1 second. I'm getting something in my throat. 1 second, if you don't.
I think those of you who have taken these workshops need to have the answers.
Long time ago, I forgot.
I feel like I'm an F student again.
Not at all. Not at all. You're actually, there's no, not at all. Don't think that way. You're doing very good.
You're not getting graded. Yeah.
Just starting. So stage 1 is dependency. So what is dependency? Definition is needing or having to have something or someone to fulfill us. I have to have it. I need to have it. Think about an addiction. If someone's addicted to cigarettes or alcohol or cocaine, they have to have it. Or people say, for example, I have to have my coffee in the morning, right? Now, dependency is not just to substances. We can actually become dependent to anything. One of the most common dependencies we have as human beings is money, right? I'm dependent on money. If I have it, I feel good. If I don't feel good. I feel anxious, stressed, etc. Other forms of dependency could be other people, needing to get married to be happy, needing my spouse to be a certain way, needing my kids to be a certain way, needing to get attention. We can be dependent on results, on technology, right? Texting, my cell phone, correct? Literally, we can become dependent on anything. It could be a concept, like needing to be right even. It could be a person. It could be a substance. It could be money. It could be possessions. We can literally become dependent on anything, right? So a term that we use is addiction, and a synonym. But another term is attachment. You know, you hear sometimes, don't be attached to this thing, right? Don't be attached to it. So if we actually look at the graphics for dependency, It basically looks like this. I am half a person. I'm not whole and complete. I need X to make me whole and complete. So the mathematics is half plus half equals 1. Half plus half equals 1. And the language is, I have to have X. So I have to have my coffee in the morning. I have to, have people like me. I have to have certain money in my bank account. I have to have it, right? And when we have dependency, we actually confuse channel for the source. We think the channel is the source of my fulfillment. So the job is the source of my income, or my wife or my husband or my children. By the way, children are one of the strongest dependencies that we have as adults. Because we love them so much, we can become very dependent on their safety and well-being, whereby if someone thinks, oh my God, something bad's going to happen to my child, they might be devastated. I have people say, I can't live anymore. Because again, we love them so much, we can easily move into dependency, which is different from love. Dependency is need, different from love, which we'll discuss. So dependency. So the question is, okay, so what's the problem with dependency? So we have dependency. And by the way, I've never met any human being who doesn't have some forms of dependency. We all have had them. We likely all still have them. So what's the problem, right? What's the problem? What's the problem, right? So first of all, when we have dependency, it's as if we have a wire energetically. So let me pull this wire for you. So here's a wire. Imagine you have this wire linked or attached to something or someone else. So, or you can call it a chain also. So when I have the money, I have the drug, I have the person there or doing what I need them to do. So then how do I feel? How do you think I would feel? Right, Shani, do you want to guess on this one? How do you think I'd feel if the person or thing is there? I would feel what? What positive emotions would I feel?
Secure, better.
Secure, better, happy. See, you're an A student. What are you talking about, Sean? So you would feel happy, peaceful, fulfilled. You'd feel fulfilled, right?
Yes.
But now imagine, again, I'm dependent on this thing. So I go up and down with this person or thing or concept. So if it's not there, what emotions would I feel? Who wants to guess? How would I feel if the money is not there and I need it for my sanity? I'd feel desperate, Safa. How would that make me feel?
Sad, worried.
Sad, worried. Remember some of the emotions you mentioned before? Sad, frustrated, worried, angry, etc. So here's what happens. Number one, when we have dependency, we lose our power and freedom because we go up and down based on whether that person or thing is there. Number two, dependency is one of the core reasons we experience negative emotions as human beings. On top of dependency, we develop usually expectations. I need my husband, my wife to be a certain way because they're my partner. They're the one who need to give me love and caring and whatever I need, right? I expect them to be a certain way. Then lo and behold, they're human. They have imperfections. I get angry why they didn't give it to me. I feel afraid what happens if something happens to them. I feel sad. I feel frustrated. So dependency is the core of a lot of negative emotions we have as human beings. Because again, on top of it, there can be expectation, sadness, frustration, fear, need to control to get what I need, right? Think about someone who's addicted to cigarettes, right? They don't have it, they have withdrawal, they feel sad, they feel upset, frustrated. Think about the negative emotions you expressed earlier today. What would happen if you went to a store and you thought the only way you could drink water is the store? I was actually creating in that metaphor a dependency framework, a dependency mindset. I was putting you in the mindset of dependency, and think about the negative emotions that you said you would have. So emotionally, dependency creates a lot of negative emotions. Physically, are negative emotions good for our health or are they bad for our health? What do you think?
Bad.
Bad. All negative emotions have a toxic effect on our health. Mentally, do you think we think clearly when we have dependency or we don't think clearly?
No, we don't.
We don't think clearly, we might get desperate, right? Spiritually, it's not negative because from a spiritual point of view, you could also call dependency a form of idol worship. We generally don't think we do idol worship as human beings. I don't know anyone who has a statue they bow down to. But idol worship is anytime we give something control over us, and it could be money, it could be a concept, it could be a person. In a way, it's a subtle form of idol worshiping. We're giving that thing power over us. We think it's the source of our fulfillment, right? And in a way, it's an emotional slavery. And I'm not saying this to make you feel bad. I'm just saying this for us to be aware. It's an emotional slavery. I'm basically needing or having to have something for my fulfillment. It's controlling me. It's enslaving me. And that itself can distance me spiritually from my essence, from the universe, from God, whatever term you want to use. Again, you know, some people have issues with the word God. Don't be hung up on the word God. God is far greater than any of us imagine, more than what we imagine. You can use the word creator or oneness or universe or whatever term works for you, or we're calling it infinite source. So spiritually, it can be toxic. And then look at the effect it has results-wise. You know, when I was younger, I was a teenager. There were girls who I really liked. And they either didn't go out with me or they broke up with me after a few dates. And there were girls who I didn't care for who liked me. I had a lot more hair back then too. They liked me, they were into me. They were girls who had crushes on me. And I didn't get it. I felt frustrated, I felt angry. I closed my heart. I said, you know, why don't they appreciate a good guy? I played power games, and I just didn't understand why this was happening. And then years later, I realized what was happening, and I'll show you what I mean. Imagine right now there's someone in the room with you, right? And they come and they grab your arm and they tug at you, they pull, right? So if someone were to right now come and tug at your arm, what's your natural reaction? What would you want to do?
Pull back.
Pull back.
Pull back, right? We pull back. Well, here's the thing with dependency. The law of the universe is that the very thing we depend on pulls away from us, creates problems for us. So what was happening with girls was I was coming from a place of neediness and desperation.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. I was coming from a place of neediness and desperation. And it was a turn off. Any of you who have ever dated, think about dating someone who's needy or desperate. It's a turn off, right? So the girls who I was liking, I was coming from neediness and desperation. They either didn't go out with me or they pushed me away. That was the natural reaction, just like you are pulling away if someone's pulling at you. The girls who I didn't like, I wasn't needy towards, so they were attracted to the rest of who I was. Of course, I didn't understand this at the time. I'll give you another example. Years ago, I was at KRSI radio. I was a radio talk show host, and 670 AM was started. And one of the people who had a program on the show became the program manager of KIRN. He said, come over, do a radio show here. I said, great. After a few months of moving over, he came and said, you know, we got to cut your salary in about half of what it was. And I got really frustrated, angry. I felt it was a bait and switch. They brought me over and then they changed things on me. How am I going to go back? I was upset. Now, at the time, I realized really underneath the anger was dependency. I was dependent on the radio station for my money, for my security. They were rocking my security, right? So that was what was ultimately bringing out anger. So the point that I'm making to you is when we have dependency on things, it tends to create problems. People move away from us. If we have dependency on money, we're bound to have financial challenges or the possibility of it. If you're addicted to a substance, alcohol, cigarettes, that substance is going to create problems for you eventually. And the proof of this is your own life. Look at areas in your own life where you have had dependency on a substance or a person or thing, and you'll probably notice there was problems in that area. Not that, for example, if I'm dependent on money, suddenly I'll be homeless, but there may be financial challenges that comes up or issues that comes up, right? So dependency has that impact. It actually creates problems for us results-wise. So dependency is not only negative emotionally, on top of it, it tends to reduce our results and creates problems for us results-wise. And again, what we do is when we have dependency, we confuse channel for source. We think the channel, the money, the job, the person is the source of my fulfillment instead of realizing it's just a channel. It's just one way for me to experience fulfillments, right? Dependency is not what we do, it's how we do it. There's nothing wrong with food. but who's in charge? Are you in charge of your eating, or is your eating in charge of you? There's nothing wrong with money, but who's the master? Who's the slave? Are you the master of money, or are you the slave of money? So a lot of the things we have dependency on, the issue is not the thing itself, the money or the person or the concept. It's how we relate to it. Am I the slave or am I the master? Am I in control, or is that thing controlling me? Or does that person have a controlling effect on me? So that is the issue with dependency. And I want you to really think about what you've had dependency on in your life. For example, we can have dependency on a substance, on family. That means how our family think and relate to us has a controlling impact on our thinking, our lives. On friends, this is where peer pressure comes in. Possessions, I have to have as nice a car as the next person, otherwise I don't feel good about myself, or to wear a certain type of clothing or have a certain type of house. It could be time. If things don't go according to plan, I get stressed out, right? It could again be people. It could be a whole host of things. It can even be my desires and goals, or self-made rules that I have. I'm dependent on certain rules, and if they don't go that way, I get shocked and moved. And, you know, with COVID going around, I believe one of the potential reasons that COVID could be happening, because one of the things I look for is, yes, there's circumstances, but there's a reason we're experiencing this movie. Every single one of us is a movie made for me and movie made for you. So why is this happening? What is there a higher purpose? And I truly believe that there's higher purpose. You don't let go of a challenge. And there's two ways to deal with a challenge. I can either let it bring me down, make me feel sad, afraid, etc. Or I have the opportunity to grow from it, to get stronger from it, to use it as a stepping stone to greater success. And with COVID, we see that a lot of the things we may have had dependency on for fulfillment is being taken away. Social gatherings, right? In person, at least. Going to the gym, religious gatherings. We were really forced in a way to really rely on ourselves more, on our creator, our immediate family. So a lot of what we may have had dependency is being shaken, so that really it's really for our benefit, which leads us to step 2, independency. The question is, why is there dependency? And why is it that I feel bad and there's all these consequences? Because it's really pushing me to grow to the next level. And the next level is what we call independency, right? Stage 2 is called independency. So what is independency? How do we define it? Independency is getting fulfillment directly from the infinite source and myself. So what does that mean? You bypass the middleman, you go directly to the manufacturer. Or you get it from yourself. So let me share with you what I mean. So eventually I learned that, you know what? I don't need to have a woman in my life to make me feel good or happy about myself, because that's what was going on. Before, I needed a woman to feel good about myself, to feel confident, to show off with my friends. Oh, look, this girl likes me. I have a girlfriend. But when I became independent, I realized, you know what? I can be happy and fulfilled on my own. I love myself. God loves me. I'm strong on my own. I can be happy while I'm single. I don't need to have a partner in order to be happy and fulfilled in life. It'd be nice, but I don't need to have it. So independency is giving it to yourself and getting it directly from infinite source. With the radio station, I realized, you know what? The security is not the radio station. That's not where my security comes from. It's a very dangerous concept to get our security from money or a job, because the nature of the universe is up and down, day and night. Right? As long as we get our fulfillment from things that are temporary, we're going to go up and down by definition. Life is day and night, up and down. People come, they go. People pass away, relationships break up. Money comes and goes. COVID comes and goes. The nature of the physical universe is up and down. So definitionally, if I'm dependent on my fulfillment for things that are temporary, I'm going to go up and down with those things. But with independency, where do I get my fulfillment? I get my fulfillment from things that are permanent, which is myself. I can always take care of myself. An infinite source, which is always there, which is what I got. I said, you know what? My security comes from from God. God is there for me. I have faith as God is there with me through it all. God never promised we'd be free of pain and challenge. That's a strong misconception people have. God never promised we'd be free of pain and challenge. God said that I'm there with you through it all to deal with it. And if we're aligned with God's will, to even be victorious. And again, you can substitute the universe or the creator or the source, whichever word you want. So I said, you know what? God is there with me. I have faith in myself. I can create security in other ways. I can create an income in other ways. You know the power that has, right? When we let go of needing to have a certain job. Do you know how many people, God forbid, there's people who are so identified, they're so into their job, for example, they get fired or it doesn't work out, they're devastated. It's as if they lost themselves because perhaps they were idol worshiping that job as their fulfillment. So independency is about getting security internally. If you look at the graphics of independency, I'm whole and complete within myself. I'm one. And here's X, it's one. Together we're two. So even if X goes up and down, I'm whole and complete within myself. I'm fulfilled within myself. The language is I'm okay with having or not having X. I'm okay with having a girlfriend or not. I'm okay with having this job or not. I'm okay with having this client buy from me or not. You know, those of you who are business people, a lot of you are. When you're negotiating, you're with a client, you better be willing to walk away and have it not work out. Otherwise, you won't be fully in your power and it may not work out. Right? There's a saying, if you really want to have it, you got to be willing to let go. Willing, not that you do, but willing to let it go. So with independency, the opportunity is to be unconditionally, I'm unconditionally happy, peaceful, powerful, free, etc. I'm happy within myself. Now you may be asking yourself, how do I do that? That's what we teach at Dreamality. That's a series of seminars and processes and tools and techniques, how you can be happy despite the ups and downs of life, and peaceful and powerful and free and so on and so forth. That's a whole training within itself and many trainings. So stage 2 is independency, but it's limited, right? So what do you think is the limitation of independency? So I feel unconditionally good. I'm not being controlled, but what's the limitation? What's missing? Do you have a guess? What's the problem if you become too independent? Anyone want to guess? What happens if you become too independent?
I'm selfish,
You can become
Self-centered.
selfish,
self-centered.
self-centered, narcissistic. Good. What else?
Separated.
Separated. Who said that?
Me, Gita.
Gita, good job. Safa, good job. You can say, you know what? You become so independent. You say, why do I need to get married? Why work? You see these, by the way, because in Eastern traditions in India, they often talk about not being attached or dependent. They become so independent. There's spiritual masters who meditate all day. They eat very little. They're disconnected from physicality. You can become a hermit, a monk. In other words, you become so independent, you say, why get married? Why work? Why make money? Why engage the physical world? And then therefore you can become selfish, narcissistic, etc. That's why there's stage 3. By the way, before I move on, do you see why I say this is one of the mother secrets of all success? Do you see what a big problem dependency can be as far as the negative emotions, negative results it can create for us, right? The issues that it can create for us. Raise your hand if you're starting to see how it could be a big problem in our lives, right? Okay, beautiful. So then there's stage 3. Stage 3 is called interdependency. It's called interdependency. So what is interdependency? Interdependency is also called synergy. So the definition of interdependency is I get fulfillment directly from the source and myself. That means I'm independent. You got to be independent to be interdependent. You got to go through the stages. But then I go one step beyond, plus I receive from and give to others, but without dependence. So I'm independent. I don't need to be married. I'm fulfilled by myself. But if I'm married, I'm happier. So I give love to my wife. I receive love, connection, support, and receive it. It's a bonus because I can achieve something greater with her than I would by myself. It's the power of synergy. Not that I have to have it, but because I want it, I choose it. But I know she's a channel. She's not the source. So God forbid something happens to her. I'll be okay. I don't want anything to happen to her, but I'm going to be okay. right? So I don't have to live in fear and anxiety constantly about what's going to happen to my wife and kids because I'm not dependent on them. I'm interdependent. So that's the example. For example, in relationships, I eventually decided, look, I want to get married to achieve higher levels of fulfillment. I got married. And guess what? There's me and there's my wife and I. So now it's 1 + 1, and we have a child. That's 1 + 1 = 3. We have 4 children actually. That's 1 + 1 = 6. And then they have children. It's 1 + 1 = 100. Ultimately, infinity. If you look at actually the graphics of interdependence, I'm whole and complete within myself, but I'm connecting to that person or thing, money, food, whatever it is. And together we create something greater. It's 1 + 1 = 300. Or do you know what symbol this is?
Infinity.
It's infinity. It's the power of synergy. So apple is great by itself. Flour is great by itself. Sugar is great. Eggs, you put it together, you create apple pie. The synergy is greater than each part by itself, right? In the case of the radio station, I calmed down. I said, you know what? They're not the source of my security. I am as God, and God is. I'm accepting this is what it is. And I went and spoke to them peacefully. And I said, hey, this is not fair what you did. And they gave me a slight raise. It wasn't as much as they cut, but it was a slight raise. But the radio station was an opportunity to really serve a lot of people, reach a lot of people. When I started Dreamality Education and Coaching in 2001, this is probably how Nasreen maybe heard of this, was through the radio, right, Nasreen? Is that correct?
Yes.
So it
And through your mother-in-law.
Oh, okay. So very nice. It developed a lot of trust. Eventually, I built Dreamality through the radio show. But that was because I came from a place of interdependence and synergy, right? We all use interdependence synergy in some way. So for example, imagine raising all your own animals for food and gardening to get all your food. It takes a lot of effort, but what do? You synergize with the grocery store, the restaurants. You get the food in a fraction of the time it would take for you to make it yourself. Or imagine your clothing, making it yourself. What do? You go to a store or online, get it. You get in a fraction of the time because you synergize with the clothing designer and the manufacturers, etc. Or imagine making your own car. Some things is very hard to do on your own, but we synergize with, hundreds of years of engineering, understanding physics, so we can have a car in a fraction of the time. And learning, by the way, is the same thing. When you learn from others, we learn from others. It's accelerating our process. We achieve far more in a fraction of the time, right? So these are all examples of synergy and interdependence. By utilizing other people's efforts, skills, expertise, we achieve a lot more than we do by ourselves. That's what you guys are doing in this organization, right? You synergize with each other to support each other to create something greater than each of you would on your own. That's the power of the organization that you're involved with right now, right?
Yes.
Which is really beautiful. Now, the language of interdependence is the following. I'm okay with having or not having X. I choose X. So I'm okay with being married or not. I don't have to be married. I want to be married. I'm okay with not doing well financially. And okay doesn't mean resign or giving up. It means acceptance. I accept it. I can handle it if I have financial challenges and I want to do well, right? I accept not having this chocolate. I want to have it. I'm okay with not using cell phone for a day. I don't have texting on my phone on purpose. People sometimes think, how could you do that? One, I have my wife. Number two is it just simplifies my life. The point that I'm making is when you're interdependent, here's the benefit. You get unconditionally joyous, peaceful, powerful, even with the ups and downs of life and situation and circumstances. It's good for your health. Good for you mentally, spiritually. You come from a place of power, and ultimately it supports you to develop self-mastery over your desire for food, over, different things that you want. When you give charity, by the way, it supports you to be interdependent because you're letting go of some money so you're not so controlled by it. Or when you say no to yourself in eating certain foods, you gain power over yourself about your desire to eat certain foods. It's a process of interdependence. So a lot of life is about learning how to be interdependent, to engage people, to engage life, but do it from a place of power and mastery. So instead of being enslaved by physicality, enslaved by relationships and money and so on and so forth, right? How many of us walk around stress and all the things going on in life, we feel trapped? But when we're independent, interdependent, it's really the pathway to freedom. And interdependence is really true freedom. I do want to say some things you want to just simply be independent with. So for example, cocaine, you don't have to have a relationship with it at all. You can just be independent of it completely. And then other things you want to be interdependent with. So for example, in your relationships, with money, with food, with technology, you want to have a relationship, but not enslaved by it. From a place of power and choice and freedom, you want to engage that person or thing, right? To put it all together, as I mentioned before, the nature of the physical universe is up and down. If I hook my fulfillment to things that are temporary, I'm going to go up and down with it by definition. Independence allows me to be unconditionally fulfilled, happy, regardless of the ups and downs. Interdependence allows me to engage that thing from a place of power. Here's another way to look at it. When I have dependency, I have a darkness inside me. I have a hole. And I need something to make me fulfilled, to make me happy. So I'm walking around sad, depressed, afraid, etc. When I'm independent, I'm light within myself. I'm fulfilled within myself unconditionally. When I'm interdependent, I'm happy within myself. I'm fulfilled because remember, I'm independent. I go to interdependence because I want to achieve higher levels of happiness, higher levels of peace, higher levels of power and fulfillment. So the draw is I'm not going from darkness to light. I'm going from light to greater light, from strength to greater strength. And that's the power of interdependence. That's the power of synergy. And ultimately, that's what we encourage you to do. That's the great mother of all secrets of success. Practice being independent and interdependent in your life. You'll feel better and you're likely to get more results, more money, more clients, better relationships, etc. And I'll tell you this, I've seen divorces. I coach people and mediate. And a lot of people confuse love with need. You know, a lot of songs say, I love you, I need you, I have to have you, I can't live without you. Love is not need. A lot of divorces happen because the person goes in the relationship from a place of neediness and dependence. They need the other person to fulfill them. At some point, you realize the person has flaws. Then we get angry and upset why they're not fulfilling me. And then that can lead as a snowball into greater division and ultimately divorce. So instead, if we go in a relationship from a place of independence and interdependence, that's where real love comes in, because I'm with you, not because I need you, but because I want you. And so when you display your mistakes, you have flaws, I can still love you unconditionally and accept you with your flaws. Because you know what? I'm okay even if you don't fully fulfill and give everything I want. Because I have myself in source. There's ways I can work it out with you and achieve that. So real love happens in interdependence, not with dependency and need, right? So I truly encourage you, practice being independent and interdependent. If it's okay, Shani, I have a gift for the people here. Do you mind if I share it with people? Is that okay?
Please go ahead. We like
How was that so far, Shani? Since
Great.
you're the leader. Good, good, good. So let me briefly share with you guys. We do have a gift for any of you who are present. Dreamality, as I mentioned before, is a combination of the words dream and reality. We educate and coach you how to achieve your potential and live your dreams. And we do very cutting edge work, unique, exclusive work. We've created a step-by-step system for achieving results and fulfillment. And we've had people come to us, get rid of all kinds of negative emotions. We're probably the best place in the world to support people get rid of fear, anxiety, sadness, negative emotions, and experience true peace, power, joy, etc. We've had people get married, heal all kinds of relationships, increase their income 10, 20%, 200%, release weight. I've had people quit cigarettes and cocaine, heal all kinds of traumas, and do all kinds of things. So if you would like to find out more about what we do, next week, a week from today, and also the week after, we have an introductory seminar called Jumpstart Your Dreams, where I'll share with you insights and techniques, how you can live your life at a whole new level and achieve your dreams. We're going to give you insights, techniques on the spot you can use. Plus, it's an overview of Dreamality and what we offer in our programs and seminars and how it can support you. It's next October 15 and 22nd. It's on Zoom, 6:15 check-in, 6:30 it starts to about 8:30. And let me just give you how you can contact us. You can go to dreamality.com/join and register on Zoom so you can join us. You're welcome to share with others as long as we have space. You can have them register, although everyone needs to register through their own unique link. So every person gets a unique link. So make sure they register independently. It's not shareable. And if also you'd like to have a personalized strategy session, we're opening up 10 sessions where you can call us, tell us what you're looking for in your life, and we can support you to develop a strategy for how to achieve it. It's complimentary, and this is the phone number 310-573-1325. You can call and connect to my wife, and she'll set you up. So if you're interested